What's up YouTube? Right, today we're going to be fitting the heated steering wheel to my car. Finally, I've been waiting to do this mod for ages. Yeah. So, parts required, heated steering wheel. Now, these extra wires here and this little module here don't exist on the steering wheels without the heated element. You are also going to need this little guy with these little spring contacts. Right, so they actually contact the back of the heated steering wheel, so you'll get these metal rings. That's the easy. If you want to buy one of these, have a jump on eBay, and the easiest way to find them is to find them with these metal rings, these two gold rings. I'll show you the other steering wheel once it's off. But I actually bought this whole unit, right, from eBay for cheaper than this cost on its own. This is actually from an XJ. Now, I'm not going to be using the whole thing. I'm just going to be taking this switch out. It's not going to work on my Estate XF because I have a rear wiper and this doesn't. But if you've got a saloon, I do believe the XJ, the XK and the XF all use exactly the same part. So on here, there's a tiny little release latch in there. Squeeze that and he'll just come out. There we go. And there is the part number for your convenience. At this point, I'm really hoping the wire is there to plug this spring contact in. So, first things first, we got to get the old steering wheel off, which means removing the airbag, which means disconnecting the battery. And we all know how much these cars love having their batteries disconnected, so we'll see what happens when we turn it all back on. But obviously, you've got the steering lock. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to release the airbag without unplugging it before disconnecting the battery, because I can still turn the steering wheel. So let's turn the ignition on and off again. That will release the steering lock. So yeah, if we try and do this with, I think the steering lock release is electronic. So if we disconnect the battery, we won't be able to release the steering lock. So what I'm going to do is turn it 90 degrees like so. And just release the airbag prior to disconnecting the battery. I'm not going to disconnect it, I'm just going to pop it out of its holder first. We're going to put the flathead screwdriver in this gap here, as so. Pop it in, push it in until it won't go anymore. Turn it 90 degrees, yeah? So he's loose on that side now. Same on the other side, so pop him in there. Yeah, turn 90 degrees. Like so, and then basically the airbag is completely loose. Now once you've got the gap at the top, it won't fall off, because there's also a couple of clips at the bottom, but a sort of a tough tug and it will come out, which is quite difficult to do with one hand. There we go, see? So these two little tabs here grip onto these two gaps here. Now on the back of the airbag, so where we put the screwdriver in, we're basically just pressing against plastic, yeah? So the screwdriver goes in there, you turn it and it pushes that away from that bracket there. The airbag is a lot easier to take off the steering wheel when it's off the car as opposed to when it's on the car, especially if you don't disconnect the battery, as I will now show you. Okay, so here we go. Turn, pop. There we go. Oh, okay. So obviously that was going to happen, so we'll turn it the other way and try and release this quickly to shut that up. Oh, come on. Oh, it's so difficult. No, let's push the other side back on as well. Oh, right, shut up. Stupid thing. Maybe release this side first. Okay, I mean, this is not easy. Ooh. Move the steering column as low as it'll go. That makes it a little bit easier. Now I can't get the screwdriver out. Shut up. So in we go to disconnect the battery. Now I'm going to disconnect the negative side, because whilst I'm doing it, it doesn't matter if the ratchet touches the chassis. Always do negative first when removing a battery. So 9 times out of 10 these are 10mm. So just need to loosen that and then pop that off. Right, now what I'm going to do is get a bit of plastic and just pop it between that and the terminal, just so it doesn't like contact, not contact, contact, not contact, like so. I've used a spare number plate. Now some say that with the dual battery systems you only need to disconnect the main one. However, as a precaution, I'm also going to pop the negative off of the little battery as well. You can just sit down there. So after that massive faff, the steering wheel can now be removed. Airbag loose. So here we go. Airbag is now loosey. So we got 3 cables on the back. Yeah, 2 airbag cables and an earth. Make sure battery is like disconnected for 10 minutes before disconnecting any of these, just as a precaution. So as you can see, it was quite safe for me to just pop this off without disconnecting the battery, because you know there's quite a lot of slack on those cables, and I was nowhere near them at all. Happy days. So let's disconnect these. So we'll pop that one off right now. These look like they pinch and come out. Yep, just like the Corsa we did when we replaced the steering rack. There we go. They're color coded, can't get them wrong. Grey, black. So here we have the steering wheel. Now, because the battery is disconnected, the steering lock is on. So that is the position we're working with. So let's get a big. Oh, first things first. Before I forget, let's. Yeah, this one stays on. That stays on there. That's part of the steering wheel. But this guy, this braided wire needs to come out, and he's just a press and release kind of guy. There we go. I'm getting really good at disconnecting stuff like this with one hand, he says, as he completely breaks the steering wheel. Oh, come on. Oh, okay, so with this guy out of the way, get the right, okay, so that cable tie has got stuck on there. There we go. Right, cool, he's out. So now I don't need to worry about forgetting to do that when I pull the steering wheel off. Okay, so it's literally just those 2 looms connected to the steering wheel. Next up, bolt in the middle. Now, what I'm going to do, once I remove this, is make a mark so that we put it on exactly as it came off. Because if you look at the, if we look at this one, you can see there is about 1, 2, 3, 4, a billion spines, so a billion positions that this could go on. 21mm socket on. Okay. Bolt with inbuilt washer. Lovely. Right, now, before we pull this off, remember I said we're going to make a mark. So, as you can actually see, there are some marks on here. So what we're going to do, we're going to correspond those two marks, yeah, with this top mark that's in the steering wheel. Oh, but we're replacing the steering wheel. Does this steering wheel have the same mark in it? Yes, it does. Right, so that top mark has got to line up with just to the left, well, pretty much that left mark of those two marks. If you don't have any markings or points of reference, make some with a Sharpie. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah. Oh. So when you pull this off, make sure you don't twist this. Make sure you don't twist this out of position, because there is a very fragile spring in it, and if you turn it around too many times it will break. And I've just realised we're going to need to remove this to be able to replace this blank for the contactor, but it might be a little bit easier now the steering wheel's off. We can see what we're doing, so I'm going to do that first. Okay, so it looks like is that a Torx head? Yep, it's a T20 Torx. Now I've got a really handy little kit. They're like Allen keys. Yeah, super handy. So with the two screws removed, we just pop this off. Oh, we're going to leave that connected. That's not really in the way. Right, so yes, we're in luck. The wires actually already go into the blank that's actually in here. So let's pop him out. Yeah, that's handy. And then unplug him from the blank. He's doing nothing. We've got our new one here with the doingies. So we'll pop that into there. I'm getting very good at doing this sort of thing with one hand. And then he just then slots back into there. Done. How about that? And pop this guy back on. Click, click, click. Sweet. Pop the screws back in, and then we'll look at the steering wheel. So here's the two steering wheels side by side. This is my old one, and this is the replacement one that's heated. Now, so we need to remove my flappy paddles, which are the aluminium version. The plastic versions actually have LEDs in them. So first things first, remove the flappy paddles, so those two screws there. Just pop the other side off. These just pull out carefully. Cool. Right, put them somewhere safe, like there in the middle of the car park. Okay, so with those removed, there's two more bolts, one there and one there. So we're going to remove those. Same size as the paddles, T20. So with those two screws removed, dong dong, we're now going to remove these four bigger ones. These are T30. So if you're hunting for a heated steering wheel, these metal rings on the back are the obvious giveaway. This does not have them. So once those four screws are removed, I'm going to just pop out my R-Sport logo down the bottom here. Could have done this whilst it was on the car, which I did, but I put it back in. There we go. And now this whole thing with all the buttons just lifts out. The wires that go through for the flappy paddles. So just be careful not to catch them on anything. Come for the hole. There we go. Right. So now there we go. So that's everything off the old steering wheel, which needs to go onto the new steering wheel. Don't know what's happened there. There we go. Cool. Alright. So now we're going to put all that, going to get rid of that, onto here. Right, now, so here we go. Spot the difference? Yeah, so there is actually quite a big difference. There's a completely different cutout. There's a little control module. Yeah, there's no cutout for it here, so you cannot, I would have said easily, or probably at all, upgrade a standard steering wheel. I think you probably will have to replace it. Other than that, they're identical. Okay, so assembly is reversal of removal. So this bit first, making sure we feed through the flappy paddle wires on both sides. There we go. Okay, don't forget about this black wire that I've trapped under there. So now I'm going to have to undo all the screws again to get that out. That's the earth wire for the airbag. Stupid thing. Right, try again. Alright, next up, pop Mr. R Sport back in. And then we'll flip it back over to pop the flappy paddles back. Of course, not forgetting to put these screws back in first. Plug the flappy paddles back in. There we go. And there we have it. Job done. Flappy paddles on. And all the gubbins on the inside in. Let's get this bad boy on the car. Remembering to thread all the cables through and line that notch up how we had it before. Just like that. So remember, this is the only plug that plugs into this. Yeah, these go into the airbag, these three. Cool. Remember, you can't get this wrong. Grey and grey, black and black, and they'll only go one way round. And the earth wire. Okay, so this negative lead popped off when I put the airbag back on. So what I'm going to do is just get my needle nose pliers and just crimp it a little bit to make it tighter. This is future me reminding you to put this back in because I forgot. And then just push him back in. Feels right. Oh no. I knew I should have put that in first. And now I've got to wrestle the airbag off again. Great. But oh no, the steering lock's on. Ah. So what I'm going to have to do, because of this very annoying mistake I've made, is reconnect the battery, turn the ignition on so I can turn the steering wheel 90 degrees, turn the ignition off, disconnect the battery, remove the airbag, put the bolt in, and then put it all back together and reconnect the battery again. Great. Here we go. So annoyingly, I've just discovered that if you disconnect the battery with the steering lock off, so right, turn the ignition on, it releases the steering lock, and when you turn the ignition off, it doesn't instantly put it back on. You get about 30 seconds or something like that, and if you disconnect the battery in that time, it doesn't go back on. So it's obviously energized to put it on, energized to put it off. So that's annoying. I could have taken it off without setting the horn off. Oh well, you learn. Stupid boy. Try again. That doesn't feel right. Oh, there we go. Yay! Right. It's all about the finishing touches. There we go. Right. Yay! So, with the battery reconnected, there's one more thing we need to do, and that is tell the car it now has a heated steering wheel. So we're going to load up STD and modify the car configuration file. Now, if you're not familiar with this, get a Jaguar specialist or someone that knows what they're doing with STD to do it for you. So inside the CCF editor, we need to change heated steering wheel from not fitted to fitted. Once you've done that, you will see a steering wheel picture in the middle here between the two heated seats, if you've got heated seats, that is. And I believe if you click on climate, it will appear in there. Yes, so the engine's not running. Let me start the engine. So now the climate's off. That's why all the other buttons are blanked out. Turn it on, all the buttons come to life, and there we have heated steering wheel. So we can either press it from there inside the climate menu, or from the main screen. This will now be white. Press it, turns red. Oh, I can feel it heating up already. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh yes, it works. Brilliant. So after about 30 seconds, the whole thing is heating up. Excellent. So I guess that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.